Hello and welcome to Local Route Productions coverage of the Mendocino Migration presented by Nutribiotic. I am John Braidman here with course designer and all-around disc golf guy and now commentator Leonard Muise.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me here, John. Beautiful Mendocino coast. This is just across the street from the golf course where we're now in our 8th year of playing disc golf events at Little River. Looking forward to some amazing golf from a great cast of characters here.
Starting off here with Dallas Albright from Boonville, California. I believe has won most of the events here on this property.
I was looking earlier, I think he's 10 for 12 this year. Came into this event having won 7 in a row.
Also joining us, Mike Sale from San Francisco, a really talented thrower.
Yeah, he's just a fun guy to have on your card. He's got mad skills and a great attitude.
Someone I haven't seen before, Zachary Crist, father of Pablo, it says on his PDGA page. That's his cat, Pablo, 1003 rated from Oregon. And another local talent, although recently moved to the Bay Area, Brady Och from Los Gatos.
Yeah, this man can play. I've seen him tear it up at a bunch of other courses. Be eager to see what he does here.
And here we are on hole number 1. As the course designer, I'm going to give you first crack at these hole descriptions.
Oh, absolutely. Well, my inclination is I think I'm a friendly course designer, so let you get a little bit of the tension out of your system with a wide open drive on the first shot and not a lot of risk, nothing too treacherous. The red stakes here behind the basket are not out of bounds. So it's a pretty straightforward hole for these guys. It should be a pretty gettable birdie.
Dallas launching a backhand throw. I believe this is a gateway ether.
Not a disc I'm familiar with, but perfect flight. Flipped it a little bit, came back gently. I would guess low 400s. Doesn't have to be a lot. This hole is a little under 600 feet.
Dallas is sponsored by Gateway, and Mike here is throwing an Enforcer. He's sponsored by Dynamic Discs.
Oh yeah, yes sir.
Put a little bit of juice into that run-up. Good line.
You got trust me.
You crest that hill, and you've got a good location to throw that approach.
Definitely. Yeah, there's not really a good or bad. It's not a placement shot. Just anywhere out there far is going to work on this hole. Very generous landing area.
Yeah, Zach throwing a Halo Destroyer, which he also calls Pablo. And Brady throwing a Beaton F2 Star Destroyer.
It started out low and lifted beautifully. I think he'll be happy with that result. Playing the skip, and that can work. A little bit of a crawl toward the basket. Looks like he's probably edge of C1 with a little tricky downhill.
Yep.
Yep. Thanks you.
Also playing the skip approach. A few steps ahead. Very similar looking shot.
It's interesting that these guys are all throwing that skip shot. It feels like a little dangerous with that slope behind the basket.
Yeah, it's a low ceiling, so you really can't fly to the basket, and I think they're maybe trying to kill a little bit of the speed by having to get ground first. Oh, obviously a little higher than he intended. Now this looks like maybe 55 feet. Pretty long run from here. Ooh.
Hits metal.
Pretty aggressive with the downhill behind it, but it's a very good effort.
He's pretty good from long range with the putter.
Wow, that was just relaxed and pure right there.
Yeah, no camera jitters for this guy.
Yeah, that looked pretty repeatable. That was clean. Ooh. Not what you'd expect. That's a pretty makeable putt. Takes care of business there.
Dallas has a pretty quick delivery on the putting green. You don't have to wait very long for him to throw it, and it's usually true.
Definitely.
When he does miss, he misses low.
In the background, that's the Pacific Ocean. Sometimes when we're running the event or doing other things supporting the event, we forget to turn around and look the other way. The ocean's right there the whole day, and it's gorgeous.
I love this stretch of coastline. It's just rugged and pure. Hole number 2, 244 feet. You got to make it through these trees, and then a lot of danger around the green. Sand trap, maybe only about 15 feet away from the basket.
It's a pretty gettable hole. Just distance control is what you're looking for here. Ooh. Maybe got a little fortunate coming in high without hitting anything, but he parked it. Oh, hang on.
Wow.
A lot of ground action, but at least it's slid away from the bunker rather than into it.
Zach did say he is playing this course blind. He's never been here before.
Oh, nice. Sit. There you go. That was perfectly shaped.
Oh, you gotta throw it.
You can see by the disc choice and the effort there. This feels kind of like a long approach for these guys. Ooh. Well, maybe it was 30 when it landed, and now it's 45 by the time it stops rolling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sit.
Yeah, there's that other golf green there, and all the golf greens on this course do play as out of bounds.
And the bunkers play as hazards. So if your disc ends up in the bunker, you take the penalty stroke, but you play where it lies. That wasn't his favorite effort. Oh my goodness. I'm going to take some responsibility for that miss. These Mach 5s come from my garage, and every time they don't catch perfectly, I somehow feel responsible. and that I think the Mach 5 gets a little bit of credit for that one.
Yeah, would you say they require a firm putt, or you want to be a little softer?
Yeah, I think you need to baby them a little bit compared. I don't know if any of these guys putt especially hard. Certainly touring pros tend to fire it, and these are not great for a touring level play. But that's part of being a pro too, is you've got to recognize the type of basket and maybe adjust the shape and the speed of your putt just a little bit. Here we are at hole 3, par 4. This hole kind of stands out on the whole course. I think, honestly, it's the only one that has some serious teeth, where you can make a mistake and compound it pretty readily. Most of the rest of the course can't get in bad trouble, but this one's pretty tough.
I really like this hole. You've got to clear this river that shouldn't be a problem for most players.
A great line.
But then, the approach is full of danger over there.
Touchy.
But the grass is like really thick. And so if you land it at the right angle, it'll stick there.
Nice. So one of the things you see here is there's 2 tee pads here. So we used a lot of the holes that we normally play in the spring charity event. But we knew that we were going to... Ooh, get up. Uh-oh. Looks like it's getting there. Yeah, that worked out fine. But we wanted to toughen it up a little bit for this B tier, and so we added half a dozen or so green tee pads that for the mixed pro and AM1 divisions to play. And even the extra 25 feet back makes that double Mando a little scary off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
These guys all made really nice shots. But even now, what they've earned is an incredibly touchy, like 125-foot shot. Sit. Wow, sticky grass really helps.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's nice.
Yeah,
I think that's the play, is try to play. Ooh, boy. I think the play is to try to hit the shelf above the basket and not mess too much with the downslope.
Yeah.
Give yourself the 15-footer. Looks like exactly where Mike's trying to land. Well, he slid it right up to it. I mean, that works too.
Yep. Oh, that was just a millimeter short. And he's lucky that he got that kick. Honestly, it could have gone in the hazard very easily.
Right.
Nice.
There you go. That's a good birdie. This was a separator out there. Looking at the scoring stats, as I love to do, saw all of the above on this hole. Saw good players getting sixes and saw a lot of birdies too, because it's definitely gettable. Nice. Nice to see those birds.
They're really nice. It's beautiful. Andrew Miranda loves it. It's beautiful plastic.
He throws those wardens so much.
Talking about his warden there. Oh, so close. Hole 4, a par 3. There's kind of two ways you can go about it. Either hang out a big Annie shot or a forehand to the left and try to get through those trees, or throw a flex shot over that second tree there. There is a Mando to the left of the pine tree on the right.
Yeah, the Mando's there just to stop the crush guys from throwing the massive spike hyzer around the back. I didn't know we'd be leaving the bench within C1. Yeah. Maybe I should have made sure we moved that.
Or the trash can probably should have moved that as well.
Maybe so. Interesting. Nobody's going the flex line up the gut. Oh, boy, did he brush those branches?
Yeah.
I think he did. He said, flex line, nothing. I'm just throwing a hyzer 2 feet away.
Yeah, that is a pretty sweet throw. He threw a glow ESP buzz on that.
Nice. It's a little uphill, so I'd say it probably plays 360 or so. That might work around the back. Oh, that kick probably helped a bit too. Yeah, we'll have a decent look from there.
You know, Dallas is thinking about putting this one in.
I'm thinking about him putting one in too. Come on, man, get back. Oh. Wow, that looked like it had the shape, but it snuck around the right side of the chains. Oh.
Bench in play.
All right, Zachary. Darn.
Got the low and then the high. He did mention he's not used to playing in the wind.
There it is. Yeah, I think we got lucky with the weather. You know, Derek and I were sweating the forecast for a while there. It was initially forecast for rain in the first long-range forecast, and then it was forecast for very high winds. And I was like, maybe I'd rather have the rain. And then what did we have? Like high 60s and 5 to 10 mile an hour winds. It's the best weather, and I think the 6th time I've been there is the best weather we've ever had.
I mean, it's pretty much ideal. Some would say they'd prefer to play in no wind at all. I think a little bit makes the game more interesting.
For sure. And honestly, the course is designed expecting the onshore breeze to be blowing. That's pretty consistent around the coast, and that's kind of what you're looking for. Man, what a beautiful flight.
I mean, just online the whole way. Didn't look like he actually touched that tree at all.
Maybe he didn't. Yeah. Sure looks. Shots like that make the game look easy.
Mm-hmm. Hole 5, a big uphill shot, about 473 feet. There is no OB on the right-hand side, though if you go in there, you might wish you could take it out of there.
Yeah.
And then the basket's up here on the right-hand side of the path. Again, no OB behind the basket, just a difficult uphill throw, and you got to keep it left so that you stay out of the rough.
I think for the pros, this should be pretty easy hole, to be honest. It's hard to tell.
He's talking about the wires. He's worried about hitting the telephone wires.
Was he going to throw
Or
a tomahawk or something? I don't know why he'd want to be that high, but hadn't thought of that. Oh, that's a good shot. Yeah, I think players only throw 320 to 370. This hole is just brutal because it seems like it's 90 feet uphill. It's maybe 60, but it just kills your distance. But these guys have enough pop that they, with a decent drive, they're going to be 160 to 220 maybe. They'll be in good shape. Ooh, it's a little inside. Oh, it's flexing out though. Yeah.
And that's that sneaky distance that Dallas does have.
Yeah, that's
pretty far.
very far. Wow. You put a move on that one.
Kind of looked like it flirted with those lines, didn't it?
Yeah, that might.
I don't think it did,
Maybe
but
that's the height. We used to have a stump underneath this basket. It's it's a pretty elemental hole, but just elevating the basket another foot or two just made those approach shots a little more important, so that a 30-footer feels kind of a little scary maybe for a good player instead of routine. Yeah, that's a nice shot.
yeah, I do think this one does play pretty easy for the pro field. But that said, I mean, you want to have some gettable holes, and especially when you're throwing uphill, that's not really that much fun for most people to throw uphill.
Yeah. Funny thing about this course, it's a bit of a magic trick. There's exactly one hole that feels very much uphill, but there's several downhill bombers. So how does that work?
Well, you make us walk up the hills to get to the
Yeah.
to the downhill ones, right?
That's how it works.
And honestly, I'd rather be walking up it than throwing up it. So.
Oh, yep. Walk up to throw down. That's most players will take that bargain anytime.
Ooh.
There you go.
Come on, Leonard. Try your ridge. Yeah, your ridge is smooth.
Well, I think some early unfriendliness in the chains is kind of making these guys watch the putts a little extra closely now. Not sure if they're going to stick.
Yep.
But what can you do? You got to try to hit the middle anyway. As a designer, not just talking about the equipment, I'm trying to design fairness. You get the result you deserve. And we all know baskets don't always give you the result you deserve. And so we try to minimize how often you kind of get cheated.
Yep.
And these baskets are okay, but I got some Mach 7s that'll be along one of these days, and they catch better.
Yep. I heard that you really cleared out the forest for this hole.
Yep.
With the help of Heath.
Yeah. Heath Bartosh and I got in here. Heath didn't know what he was signing up for. I said, hey, you want to help? And next thing you know, we're a couple hours in there. The old hole for this was just standing on one side of the fairway and throwing across it, and the basket's only about 20 feet past the line of trees. It wasn't that interesting of a hole, so if for aesthetics, if nothing else, we just created a pocket back there.
Short
And
shot.
it made it a little tougher.
Short. That's better. Oh, maybe too long. Let's skip in. Hit some.
I thought it was interesting to
That
come back in
That
there,
is
and
dang.
honestly, the
Up
placement
speed.
of this basket makes it difficult no matter where you're throwing from.
There it looks really good. Come on. Come on. Big skip. Yeah. Oh! No. Up. Big,
pretty
come on.
promising.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice
yeah.
job, Brady.
Really
Time's
nice.
charm.
Again, it's one of those things when you just throw it perfectly, it looks easy. There it is.
Nice putt.
I worked the section this year, and it was like just chilling in the ocean.
Big putt for Zach there. Nice to maybe erase the memory of some of those missed ones.
Mutual decision with the TD not to groom that bush. Sorry, Dallas. Kind of thought of it as an easy hole. It's like, well, create a little bit of complexity around the green.
And you have to get to that opening, otherwise you can be presented with a very difficult putt.
Yep. That's a nice birdie.
Yep, no putt birdies are my favorite.
putts like this certainly doesn't hurt the confidence.
No.
This is Derek's hole. I'm going to give him credit for this. He thinks we debate this more than we really do. We've had different versions of playing through these woods, but he's always loved up the pathway best, and I gave up the debate rather eagerly. And maybe it cost him some choices elsewhere on the course. I gave up this one, pretended that I disagreed. Oh,
I really like this hole. It's a tough gap to hit.
Yeah.
It's got a finish to the right,
yeah.
and for 283 feet, it's a hard hole.
Oh yeah, it's by far our tightest, most technical hole. There's nothing close to it on the course. It's a baby flex, and honestly, sure you'd love to park it, but if you just get it down the path, you'll be in C1. Just try to get basket high down the path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, none of these guys manage to hit the line the way they hope to.
Get in.
Oh, that line is beautiful. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily as easy as he made it look.
No.
Beautiful touch. Running it? Ooh. Wow.
That is a nice way to find your way through. Little floaty forehand.
Yeah, it had enough height that it could have gone. Generally, I think this course favors sidearms, particularly the gettable holes, the most gettable holes, because they're all gettable, but the most gettable ones seem to favor sidearm. Oh, yeah. Heck of a
Nice.
putt. Deep into C2. Beautiful. But now that I think about it, as tight as this line is, I don't know how many people actually gain strokes from the fact that this is sidearm biased. I think it's probably more pars than anything. I haven't looked at the data, but I wouldn't be surprised if this played over par for MPO. Tough hole. And hey, it's a golf course, right? But we'd all love to play wooded holes as much as possible. And if we had 9 of these, that would be a heck of a fun course.
I really like the variety.
Wow. Well done, Brady.
Yeah. That look like, yeah, that's on camera. Can't wait to see it later. This hole, a little bit of danger, I guess, if you go into that pond, but no one in this group is likely to do that.
Yeah.
Pretty open ace run hole, right?
Yeah, folks had asked me, where's the ace run out here? And this is the hole that came to mind. But I'll say that Mother Nature's tightening up the gap a little bit. You see that he tried to work the disc a little and pulled it off to the right. And he's going to have a pretty long look. Those bushes didn't used to get in the way as much. You could just throw a backhand hyzer right at it. That's a nice line right there. Ooh. Oops. Peered it 60 past.
Mm-hmm. And I do think this one plays slightly downhill.
It does. There you go. It's a nice
I
shot.
knew it didn't look like it was Simon Lazat that threw a fun shot and was laying shit.
Was he tempted to do something crazy instead of just the routine? No, that looks promising.
I'm sorry.
Nice.
I'm sorry.
See if he's got another long putt. Ooh,
Oh,
line was there.
yep. just offline.
Yeah, it was. It could have stuck. It's maybe a 50-50 putt right there. There you go. Yeah, I tend to think of the first half of the course is a little less dynamic. Yeah, some of the holes are you throw it in the middle of golf fairways, and certainly there's a couple of interesting, more technical shots in there, but generally a little less dynamic. And then you get a little better variety and more shot shaping maybe once you make the turn.
Hi, I'm Innova Team Captain Nate Sexton. Welcome to our instructional disc golf series. Maybe even bank over to the right, and that's going to give the putt loft. Slight flex line, so you'll see this come out a little bit higher to give you a variety of different shot shapes. The farthest away player should go first towards the basket.
Hole 9, par 3, 277 feet. There's multiple ways to attack this one. Looks obviously like a forehand line. A lot of players will play a backhand and try to sneak through those trees on the right-hand side of the tee pad.
Yeah, this is the course designer saying, if you want to insist on the backhand, it's there for you, but it's not as easy as throwing the sidearm. Sit down. Oh, that worked out quite well.
Yeah. It's just a crazy small gap to hit at that angle from the tee pad, but...
Ooh, looks a little early. But it's turned out fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting as long as possible here to get right to the end of the hole before mentioning that this is the hole the TD aced.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Derek got this one.
Nice.
A couple years ago, if I recall. And he mentions it all the time.
Well, you can't see the basket from the tee.
Right.
And so...
Ooh.
That looks close, but still short.
Yeah, the skip had me believing it might be hunting for the chains. Come on, Mike. No. He's going to find his groove.
Well, still the outright leader at this point.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see him put more discs on the chains, though. He can't afford to be missing some of these birdie holes.
Especially when everyone else is right there.
Yep, for sure. Nice. Is there a term for when everybody except the leader gets a birdie?
That's a really good question.
All right, so we call this the island hopper. Quickly, I will describe how it works. The islands that have the Innova flags in the middle are safe. Everything else is a hazard. The basket itself is in the middle of a green, also an island, I should say, and that's also safe. So the idea is just to throw onto an island and then throw onto the green. So, but you've got your choice of islands to shoot for, and so.
And I will say that when you're throwing this hole,
Yeah.
it's really hard to tell whether you're in or out.
Yeah.
From the tee.
That's one of the reasons why we put the flags out there to try to help with depth perception.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tough on camera too to tell the depth perception. For what it's worth, though, the caddy book does say exactly how far to the middle, and so these guys already kind of have an idea of how far they want to try to throw. It's a bit uphill. It could be the reason why they're not quite getting as far. It looks like all of them are, what, 25 feet short of the second longest island.
Well, Dallas did make the island, though.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I saw things.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Oh, yeah.
That one's not hard to tell.
That one's pured. And I think Mike also noticed other people being a little short. You could
Mhm.
could see he put a little extra juice on that. So these guys are throwing from the second of the 3 fairway islands, which is about 2/3 of the way to the basket. So that's definitely a good play.
You can see both of those guys are just slightly short.
Yep. And yes, it was intentional to have the island situated that if you missed, the flag on the 3rd island might kind of come into play as something you have to throw around.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have this kind of, I think this is a really interesting hole and makes good use of a fairly open uphill shot that otherwise would be pretty boring.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the original design, we're like, what are we going to do here? It's just a golf fairway with no gaps to hit. So we had to kind of contrive something, and players have seemed to have enjoyed it. In the past, the rule was really generous. The islands were the only thing that were safe, that we didn't play hazard, but then there was no stroke penalty to move up to the drop zone.
Yeah.
This year was the first time we went hazard if you weren't in an island, and that made more sense. It kind of had the balance of, has a little bit of teeth to it, but not too severe, and it keeps pace of play good too.
And with a shorter hole, I mean, relatively shorter hole like this, you know, both Zach and Brady missed the island, but they still par.
Yeah, they it's not tough work to scramble, but they still have to earn it. There you go. And it's a little bit, you know, to take a wide open fairway and turn it into something somewhat strategic. That's a win.
Well, thanks for watching the front 10 holes. We do have 19 holes out here that we played each day. And so we will be bringing you the back 9 in just a moment. Beautiful course out here. Looking forward to see what happens on that back 9.
Look at all those lovely trees. If you're a disc golf crazy person like us, it's hard to not look off the fairway sometimes and imagine what could be. But what we do have on the course here at Little River is tremendous. It's a wonderful thing for us to have this opportunity.